Today, she's going to share with us a story and how our experience might benefit us. But trust me, it's really going to benefit us. I'm not going to say too much because I don't want you to know too much. And I want you to be able to listen to the end as she speaks. So over to you, Susan. Can you just tell us a little bit more about who you are?
My story is I was in the center of 5 children in central Pennsylvania, and my parents were riddled with addiction. My father's a genius astrophysicist, but he also would pop the whiskey cork at 7:30 a.m. and you'd hear glug, 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 glug. And he was fun and he was happy-go-lucky. And when he was around, it was just, you never knew what was going to happen next.
Right.
But it was also a very violent and chaotic mix. My mother came from intense trauma, and it was hurt and damaged children, raising hurt and damaged children. And my mother soothed through food. And she was prescribed diet pills, which back then were straight on speed. So I was raised by an alcoholic and a speed freak. And I also believe my mother was suffering from a mental illness.
Oh, no. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that, but thank you so much for sharing. I know you've told us about yourself, but we would really love you to tell us about your journey, especially because what we're discussing today, as you know, is actually about transforming childhood trauma into adult freedom. So that is trauma into freedom. So we want you to tell us a little bit more about that story, especially how it relates to you and how it's going to benefit us.
Well, when I was in my early 20s, I saw the red flags. I saw similarities in my own life that I saw in my family of origin. And I was lucky to heed the warning, and I got help. And I started to examine that home that I was raised in. And I started to examine my trajectory. And that has been pivotal. It was really important for me to get a storyline down verbally. And I addressed addiction. I had my own issues with alcoholism, with overeating, using food to soothe, the same as my mother. And I could be without male attention. And that was very, very costly. And I was also attracted to narcissistic relationships. I was an empath, meaning I could really sense another's feelings. And I needed that tool to survive growing up. And it also served me in my professional career. I matched celebrities to brands and needed to convince very high profile personalities to do things maybe they wouldn't otherwise consider doing. And I was good at it. So I have my family of origin to thank for that as well. I spent time in New York City